The galaxy was wide, full of light, and full of life. Civilizations rose and fell among the stars. Worlds connected through trade, knowledge, and peace. But in every gathering of species, there was always one subject no one dared to speak of openly. A silent shadow hung over their conversations. That shadow had a name: humanity. Aliens whispered the word in fear. Some pretended humans did not exist. Some taught their young to never ask about them. But every species knew deep in their hearts that the stars still remembered the dark. Secret of Earth, the fear was so strong that no alien ship dared to land on the blue planet. They drew maps of the galaxy, and on every map, Earth was marked with warning signs. To outsiders, it was just a world of oceans and land, a small planet among billions. To the galaxy, it was a place of nightmares. One young alien cadet, fresh in training, once broke the silence. In the quiet halls of a great academy, he asked his commander a simple question. His voice was calm, but curious. "Why is everyone afraid of humans?" "They are small. They are weak. They are nothing compared to our fleets. What makes them so dangerous?" The other cadets looked down in fear. No one ever asked such things. The commander's eyes turned cold. His voice grew heavy. He stepped forward and said, "You do not understand what you are asking. The humans are not feared because of their size. They are feared because of their nature. Once, long ago, the stars learned their truth. That truth has never been forgotten." The cadet tilted his head, still confused. To him, humans were a simple story, a warning told to frighten young aliens. But now, standing before his commander, he realized there was something deeper. The commander leaned closer. His tone was sharp, almost like a blade cutting through the silence. Other species grow with peace. They look for safety. They build walls, rules, and comfort. But humans are different. They were born in struggle. Their planet shaped them. Their skies, their lands, their storms, their wars. Everything about them was a trial. And instead of breaking, they became stronger. Every time they suffered, they learned. Every time they bled, they adapted. No other species in this galaxy was forged in such fire. The young cadet frowned. But that does not make them monsters. That only makes them survivors. The commander gave a short, bitter laugh. "You still do not see. They are not just survivors. They are predators." "Do you know what that means?" The hall grew colder. The other cadets looked away, but they could not stop listening. The commander raised his hand and drew a line across the air as if marking history. Predators are never satisfied. They hunt not only to eat, but to conquer, to test their limits, to win. The first time our fleets met humans, we thought them fragile. Their weapons were old. Their ships were weak. Their bodies were soft. We attacked them with full force, and they should have broken. But they did not. Do you know what they did instead? They smiled. They fought like they had been waiting for this moment all their lives. Even when they had no chance, they still charged forward. They did not fear death. They welcomed it. The cadet's breath slowed. He had never heard such a story. His kind always surrendered when outnumbered. Other species begged for peace when war came. But these humans, they had done the opposite. The commander's voice lowered, almost a whisper now. That is why the stars fear them. Because when every other race sees death, humans see only another battle. And if they lose one fight, they come back stronger in the next. They do not stop. They do not give up. They do not break. That is the dark truth of humanity. The cadet finally understood that the fear was not a story. It was a memory carved into the galaxy, somewhere hidden deep. The stars themselves still trembled at the thought of humans rising again. The commander turned away, his voice echoing like a final warning. Remember this. Do not mistake their silence for weakness. Do not mistake their absence for defeat. Humanity waits, and when they return, the galaxy will remember what true fear is. The cadet swallowed hard, his question answered, but his heart now heavy. For the first time, he felt the same chill that every species felt when the word human was spoken. The young cadet could not sleep that night. His commander's words echoed in his mind. He had always believed humans were just a rumor, a bedtime story told to scare children. But now he understood that the galaxy's silence was not born from myth. It was born from memory. The commander had only given him a glimpse, and already it felt like a weight pressing down on his chest. The next morning, he dared to approach his commander again. The hall was quiet, filled with rows of students, but he could not hold his question back. His voice trembled as he asked, "What happened in the First War? What did the humans do that made the stars fear them so deeply?" The commander's eyes narrowed. For a long moment, he said nothing. Finally, he spoke with a heavy sigh. "You want to know the story of the first encounter? Very well, but once you hear it, you will never forget it. None of us ever have." The cadets leaned forward. Even those who pretended not to listen could not stop their ears from catching every word. The commander began. "It was more than 1,000 years ago. Our fleets were unmatched. We had spread across hundreds of worlds, built empires of steel and fire. We believed no species could stand against us. Then came Earth, a small blue world on the edge of nowhere. When our scouts found them, the humans were just beginning to step into the stars. Their ships were weak, their technology simple, their numbers few. To us, they looked like children playing with tools they did not understand. We thought we could crush them in days." The cadet frowned. "And did you?" The commander's voice grew sharp. "We tried. Our fleets entered their system. We expected them to surrender the moment we showed our strength. That is what every other species did. But the humans did not bow. They did not run. They stood and fought. And in that fight, we discovered something that should not have existed." The room grew colder. Even the walls seemed to lean in, listening. The commander continued, his voice low and steady. "At first our ships cut through, theirs like blades through water. Their fleets burned. Their stations fell. But then something strange happened. Instead of breaking, they grew fiercer. Every battle we won only made the next harder. Every city we destroyed only gave them more will to resist. They learned quickly. Too quickly. Weapons that had failed them in the first clash returned sharper in the second. Tactics we crushed in one battle turned into traps in the next. It was as if every death taught them a lesson, and every loss became fuel for their rage. The cadet whispered, "But how? How could a weaker race fight against an empire?" The commander looked at him with tired eyes. "Because they had something no other species had. They had no fear of death. Do you understand? Most beings in this galaxy will do anything to survive. They will run. They will surrender. They will hide. But the humans fought as if death was nothing. They fought as if the end of their lives was only the beginning of their fury. Imagine standing against an enemy who does not fear death. Imagine facing a soldier who keeps charging, even when his body is broken, even when his world is burning. That is what we faced. And that is why our fleets fell." The cadet felt his blood run cold. He had never imagined such a thing. The commander's tone grew darker. "We thought we had destroyed them, but the truth was the opposite. For every fleet we crushed, they built another. For every world we conquered, they rose in rebellion. And when we believed they were finished, they struck back in ways we could not predict. They did not fight like prey. They fought like predators, patient and merciless. And in the end, they taught the galaxy something it has never forgotten." The cadet leaned forward, his heart racing. "What did they teach?" The commander's voice fell to a whisper, sharp as ice. "That victory against humans is a lie. You may win a battle, but you will never truly defeat them. They will return, stronger than before. And in the end, it is not we who hunt them. It is they who hunt us." The hall was silent again. The cadet felt the chill sink into his bones. He realized now why the galaxy refused to speak of Earth. It was not shame. It was survival. To remember too much of humanity was to awaken the fear that still lived in every species. Blood. The commander turned his back on the class. His final words echoed like a warning carved into stone. That was the first encounter. It was also the last time anyone dared to wage war against them. The cadet swallowed hard. His heart beat faster, but not from courage, from dread. Because now he understood that the galaxy's silence was not safety. It was fear waiting to rise again. The cadet could no longer look at the stars the same way. Every light in the sky now seemed touched by the shadow of humanity. He tried to imagine them fragile bodies of flesh and bone, yet somehow stronger than fleets of steel. The thought would not leave his mind. He needed to know more. Later that evening, he found his commander standing alone in the observatory. The stars stretched across the glass dome like endless fireflies. The cadet hesitated, then spoke softly. "Commander, you said the humans were different, but how? How could they fight so long, adapt so fast? What secret do they carry inside them?" The commander's shoulders stiffened. His voice was quiet, but every word felt heavy. "You want to know their secret? Then listen carefully, because once you know, you cannot forget it. You will carry it with you for the rest of your life." The cadet nodded. His heart was racing. The commander turned to face him. His eyes were sharp, filled with memories that still burned. The humans are not strong because of their weapons. They are not feared because of their ships. They are feared because of what lives inside them. Their minds, their bodies, their very nature. The secret is simple. They were born to struggle, and struggle made them into something the galaxy cannot understand. The cadet frowned. But all life struggles to survive. The commander shook his head. "No, you do not see. Other species avoid pain. They build walls against it. They hide from death. They bend their lives toward safety. But humans are different. Pain does not stop them. Pain shapes them. Where others break, they grow stronger. Where others retreat, they push forward. Do you know what happens when a human loses everything? He rises with nothing but rage, and somehow that is enough." The cadet swallowed hard. He could feel the truth of those words, even if he did not fully understand. The commander stepped closer, lowering his voice. "There are records, sealed in the deepest vaults of the galaxy. Records that tell of humans doing the impossible. In battle, when their ships burned and their weapons failed, they adapted. They used the wreckage of their own destruction as new weapons. They turned their fear into fury, and their fury into strength. Entire fleets fell, not because of technology, but because of the human will. No algorithm, no strategy, no empire could prepare for them. They turned chaos into victory." The cadet whispered, "It sounds like madness." The commander's voice cut like a blade. "It is madness. But it is a madness that gives them power. You see, every other species here was shaped by balance. But humans? Their world never gave them balance. It gave them storms, hunger, predators, endless wars among their own kind. For millions of years, they fought each other. No galaxy enemy could ever be worse than the enemies they had already faced on their own world. That is their secret. Their greatest war was never against us. It was against themselves. And that endless struggle made them what they are." The cadet's chest tightened. He tried to imagine such a world. His own people had lived in peace for centuries before reaching the stars, but the humans had climbed through fire. The commander turned back to the stars. And there is more. Rumors say they carry something else inside them, something beyond biology. Some claim their minds bend reality in ways no one understands. In the darkest days of war, when defeat seemed certain, strange things happened. Time itself seemed to turn in their favor. Victories that should not have been possible became real. Whole battles were rewritten, as if the universe itself bowed to their will. The cadet shook his head. "That cannot be true." The commander's voice was grave. "Perhaps. Or perhaps it is only the galaxy's fear speaking. But fear itself can be truth. And whether it is power of mind or simple will, the result was the same. Empires crumbled. Worlds burned. The humans never stopped." The silence in the observatory grew deep. The cadet felt as if the stars themselves were watching, listening to the truth that had been spoken. Finally, the commander whispered one last sentence. "That is the dark secret within humanity. They do not see struggle as an end. They see it as the beginning. And as long as they breathe, the struggle never ends. The cadet's body trembled. He understood now why every alien heart carried the memory of fear. Humanity's secret was not a weapon or a machine. It was something far worse. It was the unbreakable will to fight, no matter the cost, and deep inside. The cadet began to wonder, what if the humans had not disappeared? What if they were only waiting, learning, preparing to rise once more? The cadet could not shake the words from his mind. Humanity's secret was not machines or armies. It was inside them, burning in their very nature. For days he thought about it in silence, until finally, during another lesson, he asked his commander again. If humans were only survivors, if they only defended themselves, why is the galaxy still afraid? Why does every empire fear their return even now? The commander stared at him for a long moment, then gave a slow, grim nod. Because you still do not know the worst part. You see, humans were not only survivors, they were builders. And when cornered, they became creators of horrors. The cadets in the hall grew tense. The commander began to pace, his voice deep and steady. In the beginning, humans fought with what little they had. Old ships, weak weapons, fragile bodies, but as the wars dragged on, they learned. They always learned. And then they began to create weapons no other species could imagine. Where we built walls, they built traps. Where we made fleets, they made storms of fire. Where we sought to protect, they sought to destroy. They twisted science into tools of war in ways that made no sense. Every defeat gave birth to something new, something terrible. Our fleets thought they had seen everything, until humans arrived with something even more impossible. The cadet whispered, "But what drove them? Why would they fight with such madness?" The commander's face was cold, because humans do not see defeat the way we do. Where we see the end, they see only a challenge. To them, every war was not about survival. It was about proving they could not be broken. They carried within them a fire that refused to die. And when you add that fire to their intelligence, you get something far worse than any army. You get invention without limits. The room grew quiet. The cadets listened in silence, their imaginations filling with images of strange machines and weapons. The commander continued. There are stories kept in secret archives about weapons they created. Cities that turned into living fortresses. Ships that carried storms inside them. Even weapons that did not kill, but instead filled enemies with fear so strong, they collapsed before battle even began. They turned war into an art, and every time someone thought they understood humans, the humans changed again. The cadet leaned forward, his voice trembling. But if they were so powerful, why did they not conquer the galaxy? Why did they not destroy every empire? The commander stopped walking. His eyes grew distant, lost in old memories. Do you think they did not try? Do you think their fire was only for defense? No. Once they tasted power, once they learned how far their will could take them, they became something even worse. They became unstoppable. Heavy silence filled the air. The cadets could almost feel the weight of his words pressing against their hearts. The commander lowered his voice, as if afraid the stars themselves might hear. There was a day our historians never speak of. A day the humans struck, not only with weapons, but with fury so great, it felt like the universe itself bled. That day is remembered in whispers as the day the stars cried. Whole empires fell in a single storm. Our fleets, our worlds, our proud cities all shattered under their advance. And the worst part? They did it not because they needed to. They did it because they refused to be less than anyone else. Because they wanted the galaxy to know they could never be caged. The cadet felt his body grow cold. The idea of humans spreading across the stars, building weapons beyond reason, fighting without fear, it was too much. He finally understood why even the most powerful empires today avoided Earth. The commander's eyes hardened. That is why we fear them. Not because of their strength, not because of their weapons, but because they never stop. Once they begin, nothing in the galaxy can hold them back. And when they rise again, they will not simply defend. They will advance. and the stars will once more feel their fury. The hall was silent. No one dared to speak. The cadet could hear only the beating of his own heart, fast and uneven. For the first time in his life, he realized the truth. Humanity was not a forgotten race. Humanity was a storm, waiting in silence. And every empire in the galaxy lived under the shadow of that storm, and somewhere deep inside, the cadet could not stop himself from asking the question he feared most. What if they return? The cadet's question hung in the air like a shadow. What if they return? The commander did not answer right away. He stood at the front of the hall, his eyes fixed on the stars beyond the windows. The silence grew heavy, as if even the galaxy itself was waiting for his reply. Finally, his voice came, low and filled with weight. You wish to know why the galaxy trembles at the thought of their return? Then listen well. This is the truth no one is allowed to speak aloud. It is the forbidden truth about humanity. Every cadet leaned forward. Their hearts pounded, their breaths shallow. The commander's words carried the gravity of ancient memory. Long ago, before the wars, before the fleets, the galaxy was not united. Species lived apart, cautious of one another. But when humans appeared, something strange happened. Entire races who had never agreed on anything else suddenly shared one thing: fear. Not fear born from logic, not fear born from war. It was deeper, older. It was inside us. It was in our blood. The cadet frowned, confused. Fear inside your blood? The commander nodded. His voice grew darker. Yes. Every species in this galaxy has instincts written deep into their bodies. Some fear fire. Some fear the dark. Some fear predators that hunted them long ago. These fears never leave. They remain hidden in the mind, passed from one generation to the next. And when humans came, those instincts awoke again. The hall fell into silence. The cadets stared at him with wide eyes. The commander continued, his words sharp and slow. Humans are predators. True predators, not like anything the galaxy has seen for millions of years. They do not just kill to survive. They hunt. They test. They fight for dominance. Their eyes face forward. Their bodies are built for pursuit. Their minds are built for strategy. And when every species saw them, something ancient stirred inside. Something buried deep in memory. It was the same terror that prey once felt when the predator's shadow fell over them. The cadet's hand shook. He looked down at his claws, his own alien body trembling as if his blood understood more than his mind. The commander's voice lowered further, like a whisper of doom. That is the forbidden truth. The reason the galaxy fears humans is not only their wars, not only their weapons, not even their madness. It is because our very biology recognizes them. Every species carries the memory of being hunted. And when we face humans, our bodies remember. We feel it. We know what they are. And that fear never dies. The cadet gasped. So, the fear is not learned? The commander shook his head. No. It is born within us. It is carved into our DNA. That is why even younglings, who have never heard of humans, cry at their images. That is why elders, who have never fought them, shiver at the mention of their name. The terror is not taught. It is inherited. The hall grew colder. A silence heavier than before filled the air. The cadets felt their skin crawl, as if the truth itself was alive around them. The commander's gaze was hard as stone. That is why we do not speak their name openly. That is why Earth is forbidden. We do not need to fight them again to know the outcome. The fear already tells us. If they rise, no empire, no fleet, no world will stand. The galaxy itself will fall silent under their shadow. The cadet's mouth was dry. He forced himself to ask, then why not destroy them? Why leave them alive, even as a threat? The commander turned slowly, his voice cold as ice, because no one has ever succeeded. Many tried. Empires older and stronger than ours once sent their greatest fleets against Earth. None returned. Their names are gone, their worlds dust. Only the memory of failure remains. To try and destroy humanity is to invite your own extinction. The cadet's body trembled with dread. He could not deny the truth anymore. The fear he felt was not his own, it was older, deeper, inherited from a time when his kind had once been prey. Now he understood why the galaxy stayed silent, why no one dared to land on Earth. It was not mercy. It was survival. The commander's final words echoed like a curse. We do not fear what humans might do. We fear what they are. And one day when they rise again, every star will remember what it means to be hunted. The cadet closed his eyes. For the first time, he wished he had never asked, because now the truth lived inside him too, heavy and unshakable. And in his heart, a single thought whispered louder than all others: what if the humans were already waking? The cadet sat frozen in his seat. His chest was tight, his skin cold, his mind filled with the forbidden truth. Humanity was not a myth. They were not a story. They were predators, and the galaxy itself carried the memory of their shadow. But one question still clawed inside him. Slowly, with a trembling voice, he asked, if they are so dangerous, if they are so feared, then where are they now? Why is Earth silent? The commander did not look at him. He kept his eyes on the stars above, his voice low and heavy. That is the question no one dares to answer. Some believe they destroyed themselves. Some believe they went into hiding. Some believe they sleep, waiting. But one thing is certain. Humanity never truly disappears. They are patient. They are watching. And when the time is right, they will rise again. The cadet's throat went dry. He whispered, and when they rise, what will happen? The commander turned, his gaze sharp as a blade. Then no star will be safe. The hall grew silent. The weight of those words pressed down on every cadet. They could almost see at the dark horizon where human ships once again filled the void, spreading like fire through the night. The cadet tried to calm himself with reason. But perhaps it will not happen. Perhaps they are truly gone. The commander shook his head. You do not understand. Humanity is not like us. Empires rise and fall, but humans are different. Even if they vanish for a time, they return stronger. The last empire that tried to erase them vanished from history. The one before that as well. They cannot be erased because they are not only flesh and bone. They are an idea, and ideas cannot be destroyed. The cadet felt his stomach twist. The words echoed inside his head. Ideas cannot be destroyed. The commander walked closer, his voice dropping to a whisper that still carried across the room. Our records say this. When humans disappeared, strange signals were found drifting between the stars. Codes, messages, maps. We could not break them. No one could. But some believe those signals were not for us. They were for themselves. A trail, a call, a warning. Perhaps even a plan. And if that is true, then humanity has not vanished. Humanity has only prepared. The cadet's eyes widened. The thought that humans might already be building in silence was almost too much to bear. The cadet stammered, then they are coming back? The commander nodded slowly. His expression was grim, but there was also a strange respect in his eyes. Yes, and when they do, every world will know fear again. Empires that now rule with pride will crumble. Species that now boast of peace will tremble. The galaxy has forgotten what it means to face true predators, but soon they will remember. The cadet's hands clenched, his heart pounding. He wanted to deny it, to call it a lie, but deep in his blood, he felt the truth. It was the same truth, carved into every living being in the galaxy. The fear was already inside him. It whispered a single warning: they are not gone. The commander turned back to the stars, his voice like thunder and shadow at once. Mark this, young one. The silence of Earth is not the silence of death. It is the silence of waiting. Humanity waits, and when they rise, they will not ask. They will not warn. They will not beg. They will take. They will fight. They will conquer. And the stars will tremble again. The hall was deathly quiet. No cadet dared to move. No one dared to breathe. The weight of the future pressed down on all of them. The cadet swallowed hard. his eyes fixed on the endless night beyond the glass dome. For the first time, he wished the stars would stay dark forever, because light might mean the return of those who terrified them all. And somewhere, far away in the cold silence of space, a faint signal pulsed. A heartbeat in the void, a reminder that humanity was not gone. They were only waiting. The commander's final words echoed, sharp and certain. Pray that day never comes, for when it does, the galaxy will learn fear all over again.